Hey guys, welcome back to Ask Snes. So here we are for season 3. So thanks very much guys, appreciate all the questions. I've had a lot of questions this week. Gotta be honest, more than I expected. I wasn't sure how the response would be. I thought I'd give it another crack. And I've had a lot of really great questions, so I'm looking forward to getting into this. So what I've done this time, and I've changed the format slightly. So instead of just answering questions and picking questions out, I've taken the questions and I've put them into sections. That way it makes it easier for you as a viewer. And what I'll do, I'll put down, if you look down in the description of this video, there are going to be timestamps down there for anything you're not interested in watching. So we've got different sections, as I say. We've got gaming, we've got gaming, YouTube questions, I've got questions about myself, and we've also got some political questions, which is a small amount of those at the end of the video. So anything you're not interested in, you can just skip by checking out the timestamps in the description. Right, with that said, let's crack on, get on with the questions. Right guys, so first up we have a couple of questions from 3 different people, all relating to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. So I'm just going to read the 3 questions and then I'll answer them because they're all similar but they're slightly different. So Jenny, Johnny Depp fan, first of all, asked, when do you foresee yourself buying a PS5 and or the Xbox Series X, or will you pass? Sony PlayStation Gamer asked, if you were going to buy a PS5 or new Xbox, which one would you buy and why? And then Adam Shock 16 asked, I know that like myself, you have not been blown away with anything shown from the next generation of consoles thus far. So what do Microsoft and Sony need to bring to the table in terms of hardware, games, etc. in order to make you part with your pennies on launch day? So at the moment, I'm not going to be buying either a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, especially at launch anyway. If you've seen my previous video after the Xbox showcase, you'll understand my reasons why, but basically, nothing they've shown me so far has impressed me, and nothing has said to me that you need to spend £500, if that is the price, on these consoles. There's just no purpose at all. I got a PS4, I'm really behind on the PS4 library, there's a massive library of games. I've got VR as well, so I've got plenty to be playing, and there's many games I need to buy and play yet. So at the moment, I won't be touching either console. That said, of course, there will probably be a day when I buy a PS5. I highly doubt I'm going to buy an Xbox unless there's a miracle and they really surprise me. And the PS5 will probably be like 2022 or something. Maybe next year, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I would expect probably 2022 because I've got a lot of PS4 games to catch up on first of all. I'm in no rush to dive in. Now, in terms of what Adam said about the hardware and the software and what can they do to really bring me on board, well, the PS5, they don't really do a lot of PlayStation because Sony, they always have great exclusives. There's always games I want to play. And of course, they have developers like Naughty Dog and Quantic Dream, which are always guaranteed to make great games, and so it won't take a lot on the software front. Hardware front, it really, to be quite honest with you, there's not much they can really do either, other than the rumoured VR upgrade. They're going to do a PSVR 2, and apparently the PlayStation 5 will enhance the quality of the current PlayStation VR headset, which would be fantastic because I won't be able to afford to buy a PS5 and also upgrade to a PSVR 2. So if I can get more juice out of my current VR headset, that'd be fantastic because it's already brilliant. But if the PS5 can enhance it, that would be a good hardware reason to upgrade. But the main reason I'll buy a PS5 will just as always be the games, because Naughty Dog, Quantic Dream, I've forgotten the name of the studio, the infamous guys, this Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch, they always make great games, and there's other developers as well. So we always know that Sony will bring the goods, there's no doubt about that. Microsoft, on the other hand, the Xbox is in deep shit as far as I'm concerned. I can't see any reason to upgrade. Hardware-wise, they have nothing to offer. The console is just a powerful box with teraflops. They have no interest in VR. Don't see any reason to be interested in the hardware side. Games, they've shown nothing at all that has interested me whatsoever. I've been very disappointed with what the games they've shown, both in the showcase recently and also in the previous third-party showcase. Nothing of interest. Really surprised because I thought they were going to do better this time and Phil was going to steer the ship, but obviously not. For me, really, all they've got to do software-wise is bring back some of the exclusives from the 360 and the original Xbox that are now dormant. You know, bring back like Condemned, or bring back Project Gotham. I don't know if they can do that because I don't know who's got the license anymore because obviously Bizarre Creations went under. But if they could, bring back Project Gotham. I'd like to see a new Alan Wake, obviously. Alan Wake 2 was in development at some point. If they could redo that, that would be fantastic. So, so Condemned, Alan Wake, Project Gotham, Rally Sport Challenge, even a game like Pariah, bring that back from the dead. That was a brilliant first-person shooter. bring back Brute Force. I'm one of the people that actually like that game. So, you know, you look back at the original Xbox and the 360, there's some really good exclusives that could come out. I don't know, is there a new Crackdown in development? I don't know. It's not a game I'd really want to be playing, but at least it's something different from Forza and Halo and bloody Fable. And they just need to come up with new ideas as well. Sony have the same IPs that they always bring out, but they're always brilliant. But then they also come out with new ideas, like they have with Ghost of Tsushima recently. So they've always got their developers doing something that's going to keep you interested, and they have a variety of genres as well. Whereas, yeah, I think Xbox is just a bit stale now, isn't it? Apart from Gears of War, which I absolutely love, even that couldn't convince me, because if Gears 6 came out, it'll work on an Xbox One, so there'd be no reason to buy an Xbox Series X. So I don't know, we'll wait and see. I mean, you know, I've got at least 2 years yet before I even bother to buy one of these machines. But PS5 is probably going to happen. It may not, I mean, I might not even bother. You might find I buy the Amico next year and I just don't care about the PS5 and the Xbox, because at the moment I don't. So we'll see. So there you go, guys. So thanks for those questions. Next one, this is all the gaming section, by the way, if you hadn't worked that out. I'm sure you have. So next we have a couple more questions from Johnny Depp fan. First question is, which video game system can you not live without? Easily the Super Nintendo. I don't own one currently, unfortunately. I really wish I had got one, and I will be getting one in the future, hopefully, if all works out. So yeah, that without doubt. If I had to pick only one console to own, and that's like everything, modern, retro, any console that's ever been created, right now it would be the Super Nintendo. We'll wait to see when the Amico comes out how much that changes, but at the moment it's the Super Nintendo. Right, what are your top 3 favourite video games? That's really hard. When I mean, to try and think of like all the I mean, I've been playing video games since 1985, so it's 35 years. That's really tough to just pick 3. I would absolutely say Castlevania 4 and Street Fighter 2, especially Turbo. They've got to be there without doubt. For the third game, you know, I might even. Ooh, I was going to say Uncharted 2, but I don't know about Uncharted 4. It's got to be one of the Uncharted games because they're so good and they're so replayable. I'd probably go Uncharted 2 because Uncharted 2 is still my favourite, so yeah. But Uncharted 4 is so good. In your recent PlayStation 1 collecting, what are your favourites? Have you discovered any games you didn't know about but ended up loving? So I haven't got a whole lot at the moment. As you can see, I've got a small selection. Basically the favourites are the usuals at the moment. So Tony Hawk 2 I've been playing a lot of. The 2 Medal of Honor games, Medal of Honor and Medal of Honor Underground, are both fantastic. I love those. Those are the ones that are really my favourites in there. Oh, and of course Die Hard Trilogy. In terms of games I found that I didn't know much about, didn't know much about and ended up loving. To be quite honest with you, it's got to be the 007 The World Is Not Enough. I knew it was a different experience to the N64, and I played it a few years back and I couldn't get off the first level, so I never went back to it. But I recently finished the game a few months back now. I played through the whole game. It's a really fun first-person shooter, and the graphics for the time are excellent. It's really nicely polished. Yeah, it really surprised me how much I enjoyed that game. As I say, it's completely different to the N64, so you get 2 different experiences. And another one which I played back in the 90s was Tomorrow Never Dies. Never got off level 1 again. Couldn't work it out back then. Played through that at the same time as I played through The World Is Not Enough recently. Absolutely love Tomorrow Never Dies. Admittedly, the controls are terrible and it can be a pain in the arse to play. But once you get used to it and you don't try and aim your gun, you just free aim, makes it a lot easier. And it's an incredibly fun game, beautiful, colourful graphics, great level design. Really surprised me, both of those games, they're excellent. Next ones are from Nat Kennedy Breeze. I believe you're in New Zealand, I think. And Nat says, thanks for the question, by the way, Nat. I think that if digital games were DRM free and could be kept on a storage device, that they would feel more like that you own them. Do you agree? You would technically own them, yes, because you can transfer them around and keep them on your own storage media. But to me, you still don't own them, they're still digital. I think anything digital you don't really own. You might have the code stored on an SD card, for example, but it's not owning. It's not like physical ownership of having a box and a manual and a cartridge or a disc, or I mean, I know a disc is pretty irrelevant nowadays as well, but you know, just having all that packaging and all the good stuff. And if you're into collector's editions, having the statues and whatnot, to me that's more of an ownership. I mean, yeah, you do technically still own the digital copy if you can transfer it off your system, but yeah, it doesn't feel like you do to me. Do you think that game companies included really stupid, needless DLC with games to justify overcharging for digital downloaded AAA games? Maybe. I think the reason that digital games are so expensive, as far as I understand, is because of shops, basically. Because they have to sell the games to the shops, and the shops have to make a profit. They can't undercut the shops with the digital pricing, because the shops would be really pissed off, like GameStop, GameStation, etc. They wouldn't be happy about that, and then they'd probably not stock their consoles. So I assume that's the reason. That's what I've been told in the past anyway. Right, next up. God, that's a bit loud. We got a question from Justin, who asks, do I have any interest in the ZX Spectrum next? No, I don't, because I'm a Commodore kid. But I do think that the system is really cool, because Paul Mr. Bads picked one up and I was actually quite impressed with what it could do. If they were to bring out some Commodore versions, a 64 or even better an Amiga next, then you would definitely have my attention, because I think the actual idea of the ZX Spectrum next, from what I've seen from Paul's video, very nice, very cool system. Nomad Lone Star asks, if you could relive any console generation all over again and experience it all for the first time again, which one would it be? Without doubt, mate, it would be the 16-bit generation, the Amiga, the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo. Best generation ever. So many great games. The 2D artwork, the graphics were just incredible. Just the packaging for the games, the cartridges, the floppy disks, the memories. I just think it would be fantastic to relive that era again. Playing on the Amiga and playing all the point-and-click games like the Monkey Island games, or playing games like Speedball and all the bitmap classics and Chaos Engine, playing Xenon 2, even playing Robocop 2, which was a fantastic title. There's such a variety on the Amiga, and then the Super Nintendo and the Mega Drive have just took it to a completely different level with games like Castlevania 4, Street Fighter 2, Mario World, Mario Kart, Pro Protector, Super Pro Protector, Castle of Illusion on the Mega Drive, Mercs, Shadow Dancer, Shinobi 3. I mean, the list just keeps going. It was such a brilliant generation, and probably one of the best, if not the best, we've ever had, I think. Fantastic. So yeah, I'd absolutely pick the 16-bit generation. Gareth Gotcha asks, do you have any way of me or anyone else sending you some games? Thank you for the question, Gareth. I don't, mate. I don't have anything set up like a PO box or anything, so I'm not taking gifts, but I do appreciate the offer. Thank you. My good friend Anthium over in the States, Anthium Two Tails, asks, what is your favourite collectible? To be quite honest, mate, I don't really go for collectibles like when you buy collector's editions and you get statues and all that. It's not really my thing. I do have a couple of figures, as you can see back there, and I've got some little toys, like some Mask vehicles that I picked up at one point. There was a time when I did think about getting into He-Man and Mask. I quickly changed my mind on that, because I realised it would be a bit of a big mistake for me to do that, because I'd end up with absolutely tons of them all over my unit. I don't really want to get into the actual collectible side, but for me, really, the only most collectible thing I've ever gotten into was cartridge gaming. I love Super Nintendo cartridges, especially like the American cartridges, because I love how different the shape they are. I think they're fantastic. I always thought they looked really cool when I was a kid, and I still do. But yeah, I just love cartridge gaming. I love all the different shapes of cartridge for the different machines, the different boxes you get. Like, obviously you get cardboard with Super Nintendo, you get clamshells with Sega. Fantastic time. So yeah, if anything was collectible, it was that for me. Lee Jeezy, would you ever consider collecting the Amiga or any Commodore system again? Yes, absolutely. I would say I won't collect for the system, but I would love to own an Amiga again, just with the compact flash and all the jazz, just to play the games. I won't get back into buying box games and stuff, because most of the time they don't work, and there's no real massive nostalgia for me. There's certain games that I did own proper copies of, but most of the games I owned were pirated, so there's no real attachment to the box art. I can objectively look at it now and think it looks fantastic, but yeah, I'm not going to put thousands of pounds into buying boxed Amiga games. I've tried it before, it's not for me, but I would like at some point in the future, if I can, when I've got the money to afford it, buy an Amiga 600. So I've never owned a 600, and I really like those. They look really nice. They're compact as well, which makes it easier for the game room. And yeah, if I could just get one of them recapped, all done and dusted, with a compact flash, so I haven't really got to work anything out. I've just got to turn it on and play the games. That would be ideal. Have you looked into the Amiga modding scene at all, considering emulation, especially with the games library being so massive and original games might not work anymore? As I say, that's what I'd like to do, is the compact flash route. It's nice and simple and easy. I don't pay too much attention to what's going on, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on with the Amiga. I do watch Dan Wood's channel, so I occasionally hear about things like the Vampire board, which are quite fascinating to watch. I love those videos because I don't really understand all of that stuff, so Dan does a good job of explaining it. And yeah, Dan's channel, by the way, Dan Wood, check him out, he's a great YouTuber. Final question is, have you tried any of the HD mods or cables available on the market for consoles? Would you consider using any of them? I was tempted by the pound cable for the Xbox, but I know there's been complications with that. Sometimes, depending on the Xbox you've got, you can get vertical lines on the screen and it can cause issues. So to be fair, I've got the CRT, so I don't really see the point. I just play them on the CRT. So I've got no real purpose for putting old consoles in the living room. Plus I don't want my living room getting jammed up with consoles. You know, it's bad enough as it is. I've got a Blu-ray player, I've got a PS4, I've got my stereo equipment. I don't want to have too much stuff in the front room. Okay, Retro Shane 88. Hello Shane, how are you? Have you played Streets of Rage 4 and what are your thoughts? I have. I've got it on the PS4 and I'll be quite honest with you, didn't think much of it. Downloaded it, thought it was a bit difficult. It was nice to look at. It just didn't blow me away, to be quite honest. Of course, I didn't grow up with Streets of Rage. I did play it at the time because I swapped my Super Nintendo with a guy at school for his Mega Drive, and I played the first Streets of Rage. But I was never obviously a big Sega kid, and I never played Streets of Rage 2 and 3, and I've not got a legacy with that system and that game. So to me, it's just, as much as I love Streets of Rage, obviously, got a poster on the wall, but Streets of Rage 4, I thought it was alright. I think a lot, because a lot of people have got nostalgia for it, they loved it a lot more than I did. But yeah, it was okay. If you had unlimited resources, what hobby would you like to do? Travel, without doubt. I'd love to travel around the world. Obviously at the moment, a bit difficult, but when the world's back to normal, hopefully, that would be something I'd love to do. Because I watch travel channels on YouTube, and it's the first time I've really been inspired. I always wanted to go to like New York and the usual stuff and a bit of Europe. But now I've been watching people travel. It looks fantastic. I know there's, you have to be careful what you're doing wherever you go, but we live in Europe. We're right on the doorstep of a lot of great countries to go and visit, so it's quite easy for us. We're lucky in that respect. We don't have to go far. So yeah, one day I would love to travel and make it. I need to do it soon because I'm getting older. Do you have a guilty pleasure, and are you brave enough to share it? No, I don't, and if I did, I would. I don't believe in guilty pleasures. I'm a person who just likes what they like. If people think I'm weird for liking it, I don't give a shit. I'm a Britney Spears fan, don't care, not afraid to say it. And I don't mean I just like her music. I'm a fan, like I've got all her albums and everything, I've got all the DVDs, Blu-rays, the whole lot. Is the retro gaming scene declining on YouTube? I see a lot less videos, views and comments from the actual enthusiast hobbyists sharing their passion. I don't know, because I don't watch tons of channels, to be quite honest with you. The channels I do watch, yeah, the videos have slowed down quite a lot. There isn't a lot getting put up, really. I mean, recently in the last week, I'm trying to think, there's like, Carl's put a video up, Eddie just put a video up, watched his 360 collection yesterday. Jay put up his Star Wars arcade 1-up video. That's Cybersnake 7. Who else is there? I mean, the one person I'm watching the most that's putting up retro stuff is Open Every Box at the moment, Pete in Canada. Over here in the UK, I mean, yeah, I'm not seeing much come up at all. But then again, as Alex Blue Tonic always says to me, you have to diversify and watch other channels and then you'll get more content. So it all depends how many channels you're actually watching, but it does seem like it has gone a little bit quiet. Ever since lockdown, not ended, because it hasn't, but has been eased, it seems to have gone a bit quiet, unfortunately. Rockstar Gaming Fan 95. Right, so how many questions? Right, yep. So the question is, I'm a fan of your collections. Do you have a PlayStation 2, and can you do a collection video for the PlayStation 2? I have one. There's not much point doing a collection video, to be quite honest, mate, because I've got about that many games. I'm not a big fan of the system, and I've tried many times to get into it. I've started to get into it and like it a bit more, but yeah, to be quite honest, I don't have enough to do an actual collection video. He also asks, have you played the game? I'm assuming it's a man, not a woman, but who knows? As most of my audience are male. Have you played the Getaway games? They're classics, and are you a movie fan? Yeah, I love films. Got a shitload of them over there. I watch films well, pretty much every day at the moment with this situation. But yeah, I used to always go to cinema regularly. I love watching films. And in terms of Getaway is cool. Be honest, it doesn't age very well. It doesn't handle too well nowadays. I've tried playing both of them, a bit rough, but I appreciate them for what they are. Okay, next question is from Lee Metas. Lee asks, do you have a Switch? I thought it'd be right up your street. If so, what are your thoughts on Mario Odyssey? I had a Switch when it came out. I can't remember if I got it in 2017 or 2018. I did pick one up briefly and I played Mario Odyssey and I thought it was fantastic, mate. A really great Mario game. Actually, probably one of my favourites. I was really impressed with that game. Beautiful graphics, great level design, great gameplay. It was just, it's just everything you want from a Mario game, really. It's fantastic. But I didn't really play on the Switch after that. I kind of it just sat on the wayside. I was really playing PS4 and Xbox One at the time. So the Switch ended up going because it was just a waste of time. It was just sitting there as an ornament. And I've not got back into it, and I won't get back into it, to be quite honest. The Switch for me, it's just like the library's far too vast now. It's too expensive to get into, and I really don't want to go down that road because I'll end up going into collector mode again and having shitloads of Switch games, and you got all this limited run crap where you got to pay ridiculous prices to get great games, and because they're on eBay and they're silly money. But yeah, I've got no interest in getting to the Switch. It's just way too much for me. Broken 1394, Jay. Hello, Jay. How you doing, mate? I'd like to know what the most disappointing game is that you've played after being hyped prior to its release. I can give you two on that, mate. One in particular was the Conduit 2 on the Wii. I did videos on these two games years ago when I played them, and I was really not happy about them. The Conduit was a fantastic sci-fi first-person shooter on the Wii. I love that game. It was so good, and it really surprised me because I wasn't expecting to enjoy it that much, and I had a ton of fun in that game. The second game came out and it was a right pile of shit. It was broken, it was messy, it was just rubbish. I'll put a link down below and check out my video and my original thoughts, but yeah, terrible game. I was so disappointed with that game when it came out. And the second one is easily the Darkness 2. The Darkness 2 really disappointed me. The first Darkness was such a great game. If you remember Sean Sidious from way back, he was the one that got me into the Darkness because he did a playthrough of the first game, and I tried to play it in the past and I couldn't get on with it at all. I just could not connect with that game. And after watching Sean play it, I went back and played it, and I just got sucked in, and I absolutely loved the storyline, the character Jackie Estacado. I loved the gameplay, the level design, the mechanic with the darkness inside you, those creatures. It was bloody brilliant, the first game. And then the second game comes out and it's just some generic Call of Duty knockoff, and I was like, this is shite. Beautiful graphics, it looked great, but it was the most generic first person shooter you could play. It was a massively disappointing game, that was. I was so pissed off over that. So if you ever go back and make the Darkness free, please make it like the first game. But I'll put links down below to my thoughts on the Conduit and also the Darkness, because I kind of went off on one at the time. Okay, so Joe Kemp has a question. What is your favourite controller of all time and why? Super Nintendo. Gotta be. There's some great controllers. The PlayStation and Xbox controllers have evolved over time and have always been great from the beginning, to be quite honest. Even the Xbox Duke was a good controller, it was just too big. But I think the Super Nintendo controller, it was just perfect. At the time, obviously it had the dominance with the 6 buttons with Street Fighter 2, so it kicked the Mega Drive's ass until the Mega Drive got a 6-button pad. But to be quite honest, Mega Drive 6-button pad is not a patch on the SNES pad. Buttons are in the wrong place. So yeah, I love the shoulder buttons, I love the curvature of the controller, the way it just fits perfectly in the palms of your hand, the way the buttons feel, the colour of the buttons, the position of the buttons, the D-pad is absolute perfection. Yeah, I love the Super Nintendo controller. It's got to be the best one ever made. Until the Amico controller comes out, of course. Next up we have Eurohunter76 and Sniper both asked, will you ever collect for the Super Nintendo again? Yes. It's the plain answer, of course. Don't know when it'll happen, but eventually, yes, I would love to get back into the Super Nintendo. I really do miss having a Super Nintendo collection. It's the one system that, as I said earlier, is the only system, if I had to pick one, would be the only system I owned if I had to just get rid of everything else. Love the SNES. So many good memories from when I was a kid, when I got my first SNES, and also playing at my mate's house, playing all the games I couldn't afford to buy, and when I got older, playing them as semi-retro at the time, like in the late 90s, and yeah, they're really good, man. I love the SNES. I'd just love to do that again. I don't know when it's going to happen. It's going to take a lot of time because the games are expensive now. I mean, they've always been pricey, but they're getting quite pricey, even more pricey now. And the consoles aren't cheap either. But yeah, one day I would absolutely love to have a nice, solid SNES collection. Not on the scale that I had with the American connection. I mean, that was a big one. I don't know, I guess a lot, 124, 126 games, somewhere around there. All box complete, near enough mint. That was a collection and a half, wasn't it? Oh, what was I thinking? But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'd like to get just a nice tight collection of my favourite games, really. That'd be the best way to go with it. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go American or PAL. I think PAL will probably be the option because you get the resolution bump, and also it's a lot easier to just buy the games. And also American games are really, really expensive now, and especially when you start adding international shipping, import tax, it can be a nightmare. But I mean, it's not that it isn't achievable, because I have looked and checked prices now and again just to keep an eye on things, and it's still possible. You just have to be a bit slower, and it would be like I used to do it, where I buy one a month or two a month. So that, yeah. But yeah, anyway, the answer is yes, absolutely. Sometime in the future, I would love to get back into SNES collecting. So Christian Christoph, sorry if I've just bugged your name up, mate. I've tried my best. What's your favourite ending for a video game? And then he says pick top 3, which makes it incredibly difficult. I find this, I've been trying to think about this for the last couple of days. 2 of them I can think of are Uncharted 2. I love the ending on that, and the moment where Drake and Elena are having a conversation at the end, and they're talking about the clowns. Trying not to spoil the storyline, but I really liked that moment between them and the relationship, and I thought it was a great way to end the game. Secondly was Medal of Honor Warfighter. That's the one. Couldn't think of it. Yeah, Warfighter. There's just something about that game, about the storyline. It's so well told, so well acted, and it just gets me emotionally. I ain't going to spoil it for anyone who hasn't played the game, but I'd recommend playing it at some point. But there's a moment in the game where something really brutal happens, and the ending is tied into that. And when that moment happens, it just gets me every single time. I've played that game so many times, more than 10 times easy. And every time I get to that moment, it always hits me hard. And when you get to the end of the game, it's just like, I'm just running up, man. My chest is tight, and I'm just like, damn. It's so hard hitting. It's absolutely fantastic. Other than that, it's really hard to think of it. I mean, I've played so many games, just trying to think of one that's got an ending that's really made me go, wow, that's really impressive. I don't, honestly, I can't really think of a third one. I mean, other than like Street Fighter 2, that always had really cool endings. Like, I think it was Ryu when he's doing dragon punches in front of the waterfall. That was really cool. I love that. So I'd probably go with that one. Next question is from Sniper, who asks, if you have to choose one game to be fully remastered, which game would it be? If I could only pick one, it would probably be Freedom Fighters, which was a PlayStation 2, GameCube and Xbox game. A third-person team game where you control your character and you have 2 teammates, and you can, like, it's just basic stuff. You can say like stand your ground and shoot, or go over there and attack, and that kind of thing. I absolutely love that game. Basically, the Russians invade America, you're a plumber, and you join the resistance, and you move up in the resistance as you complete tasks, and that's how you get soldiers to join the cause and help you. It's fantastic. I remember playing it on the Xbox when it came out. Absolutely fell in love with that game. And my mate at work, Jav, was playing it too, and we were both going in work every day and talking about it and how far we'd gotten. And it's just, I just love everything about it. Like at the end of the game, when you're in the snow and the winter, and it's beautiful. And it's a bit ropey when you play it now. The controls aren't the best in the world, but it's still a fun game, and we're never going to get a sequel. So I would absolutely give my right arm for a remaster of that game. It'd be fantastic. Just because I'm going to throw another one in as well, would be Medal of Honor Airborne as well. Because that game, the frame rate's shite on it. It could really do with smoothing out, because I absolutely adore that game. So if that could get a remaster, that'd be fun. And thinking about it, I'm just going to give you a third one, Salty. Call of Duty 2, Xbox 360 exclusive launch title. Why has that not been remastered? We've got the Modern Warfare games, they've all been remastered. I think the third one's been done, or it's coming out. So yeah, please do Call of Duty 2, because that's the one that needs it the most, because the graphics are really bare bones compared to what we have now. And I absolutely adore that game. It's my favourite Call of Duty game, so I would give anything for that to be remastered. And I think that's probably got the most chance out of those 3. LFC Gamer and Vlogs. After deciding to give your channel another chance after being away for 2 years, have you ever unsubbed to someone, then later unsubbed them back because of a video that really interested you? Your video giving your honest opinion on the PS5 and Xbox Series X is the reason I came back. Well, thank you for coming back to the channel, mate. I remember when you left and we had a conversation, and you know, I respect your reasons for leaving. Totally up to you, that's fine. And I appreciate the fact that you've given my channel another go, so that's great. Yeah, actually funny you say this, because I recently resubscribed to Pete Dorr. Now Pete Dorr, when I started back in 2009, was one of the big American YouTubers, one of the big retro channels really in general across the world. He was absolutely massive. And I don't know what happened, but a few years back I had a bit of a cull of my subscriptions, and I think I was just in a mood, and I was like, I just started getting rid of certain subscriptions, and people hadn't made videos for a while, so I was just like, I'll just unsub because they're not going to make anything new. And I didn't realise Pete had come back, and then a couple of weeks ago YouTube suggested one of his videos. He's been doing a lot of topic videos like Why I Collect, which is a fantastic video. And so I started watching him, and I was like, yeah, I remembered why I like Pete and why I like his personality, and I instantly just went and resubscribed to his channel. So yeah, Pete Dorr's the one for me. So right, and then he asks, are there any critically acclaimed games, past or present, that in your opinion are overhyped and underwhelming? Every RPG that's ever been released. Because everybody goes on about him so much, they just bang on about these bloody games, and I'm like, I just don't get it at all. What else is that? There's always a few. One, actually, thinking about it, when I was watching Eddie's video yesterday's Rollercore, I was watching his 360 collection, and he had Catherine in the collection. And I remember when that game came out, and everyone was going on about bloody Catherine. I was like, I don't get it. What's so brilliant about this game? It made no sense to me at all. And No Man's Sky was another one. Everyone was going mental over that game. Oh, I can't wait, it's going to be phenomenal. I looked at it, it looked shit to me. I just didn't get it at all. There's probably loads more as well, because there's many a time when games come out and I just thought, I don't get it. Like Mass Effect, I don't get it. I tried playing them, they're just irritating. I don't get this whole RPG thing and all about leveling up. It's just dumb to me. It's like, you know, you can't shoot straight because you have to level up. That's bullshit. Just let me shoot. I just don't get. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. What is the worst Amiga game that you've ever played? To be honest, I really struggle with this because I can't remember any Amiga games that instantly stand out as being terrible. But I would say the one game that disappointed me the most was Street Fighter 2, because the port was awful. I just remember, I haven't played it since I was a kid, but I remember it being very slow. The backgrounds didn't have the animation they're supposed to have, and it was a pretty piss poor port. And of course at the time we had the Super Nintendo version, which was close enough to the arcade as we could get at the time, and it was just phenomenal. And it was just like, man, the Amiga pales in comparison to the Super Nintendo. So yeah, I'd have to go with Street Fighter 2, I think. Okay, next question is from Dissembler. Well, in fact, two questions. First question is, and this is a really positive question. What will you do if the Amico is a complete fail and ends up in an early grave like the Ouya? Well, it's not an Ouya, so it's not going to do that. I just wish you could be a bit more positive about it. To be fair about it, it sounds like you're saying, like, I've got an investment in this system. I know I love it, but like, it doesn't make any difference to me if it fails or not. It would be fantastic if the Amico is a huge success, which I believe it will be. I think people are really underestimating how successful this console is actually going to be, because I think a lot of people don't really get the concept. They don't seem to understand why it's so cool and why it's going to really have a massive impact on the 3 billion mobile non-hardcore gamer out there that are really going to be blown away by this system. But that aside, I want the system to be successful so that obviously I get more games to play. But even if the system, say 6 months, 12 months down the line, the system tanks, it doesn't work out and they have to pull it from the market, well, I'm still going to have a great console with a ton of great games to play. Now, there's been many systems that have failed in the past, the Atari Jaguar, the Sega Saturn, the Wii U. Does it stop people buying them now? Does it stop people wanting to own them? Of course not. You know, you still want to own them because they've got great games on them. You've still got a nice library of games to play. And the Amico is the same as any other console. And if it fails, we will still have some great games to play on it. And even if you don't buy one at launch or after launch and you're not interested, maybe if it did fail, then maybe you would consider one as a retro collector, as an obscurity collection, that kind of thing. So it makes no difference. I mean, I would obviously prefer the system to be a massive success, which I think it will be, as I say. And then I can have tons of great games and it'd be awesome. But even if it fails, I'm still going to have a lot of great games. I mean, you get 6 games packed in with the console already before you even start buying games. So it's all win-win to me. Next question is, also, if you could go back in time with enough money for free pickups, Mega Drive or SNES, or US versions, what would you pick up, not for resale? So basically, I think what you're saying is, if I go back in time, I've got enough money, which 3 Mega Drive or SNES games would I buy, not to sell on but to keep? I would say, I mean, Mega Drive I'm not so fussed, but SNES, probably gonna, let me see, Rrgmidro would be one, because that's a really cool game. I'd like to give that a real fair shake, because that's a pretty decent little game. Space Mega Force, the American version of Super Lest, which has actually come down in price recently. It's still about, was it, I can't remember, it was 200 or 300 last time I saw it. It's still expensive, but it's come down considerably since back in the day. And Dracula X as well, because whilst I prefer Castlevania 4, I do enjoy Dracula X, even though it's very hard. But the price has always been extortionate, so I've never wanted to pick it up. I've owned the Japanese version because that has always been relatively achievable. It's never been mega expensive. I think even now it only goes to about 150, so you can buy that. But yeah, Dracula X, the US version, would be cool. Right, so next section is going to be the YouTube section. So I've got a couple of questions regarding YouTube. First of all, we have 2 questions from a good mate, Alex, Blue Tonic 78. Hello, Alex. Blue Tonic asks, so a bit deep, but how do you think YouTube has changed over the years? Is your passion as strong, the same or less than it was previously? And looking into the future, how do you see your channel? Connected to that, when were the glory years of the YouTube gaming community for you? Right, okay, so bloody hell. So yeah, do you think YouTube has changed over the years? Yeah, it has, obviously. I mean, since Google took over, it's changed dramatically. Is your passion as strong? Not until recently, no. Yeah, and into the future, what do you see for your channel? So, I mean, I think over the years, YouTube's changed a lot in terms of Google taking over and ruining it, and bringing in the anyone can monetize anything, and it's just a cash grab. They've also ruined things like simple things like taking away private messaging, taking away the option to put video responses underneath your video so that you can link to other channels, which was really good for building communities and to getting channels some airtime and getting their subs up as well. So that kind of stuff really annoys me. They took all of that away. Also changing the star system to the stupid thumbs up, thumb down made no sense. Thumb down has no relevance at all. It doesn't tell you anything at all about what people think about your video. So that's really dumb. You know, my passion, to be quite honest with you, in the last few years, as you know, Alex, has been pretty dormant. I've tried a few times to try and get back into YouTube, and I haven't really felt it. I just haven't connected at all. I've tried my best, and I've made videos here and there, but I've been sporadic, as you know. But recently, especially with the Amico is something that's really got my excitement up again. It's a console I can really get behind, and something that I haven't had since the 360, where I'm really, really excited for a new console. And it's given me all this passion, and I've met these great guys in America in the Amico community, and it's really pushed me to go and make videos, and likewise, because I've done that, I'm now getting my passion back for sitting in front of the camera and talking to you guys and doing this whole YouTube thing. And really the reason is because I'm doing YouTube the way I used to do YouTube, where I'm making videos. I'm going to be completely honest there, I'm making videos that I want to make, and if they don't get loads of views, I don't care. It's like, I want to make the content that I want to make. I don't want to feel like I'm making videos that I think other people want to watch. I just want to make the videos that I want to make, want to watch, think are fun, and I know that some people will enjoy it and engage with, such as the Moon Patrol videos. I know a lot of you don't give a shit about Moon Patrol, but there's a small group of people that do care, and Anthium in particular, me and him were having a bit of back and forth with the challenge, and it was great to be able to do that on Twitter and YouTube and to show the progress of how I've watched his videos where he's been trying to beat the level, and he, like myself, has done it without dying, which is so difficult, and it was really fun, and it gave me that YouTube community feeling and that fun that I had back when I started YouTube. So yeah, as for the future of the channel, who knows? At the moment, it's going great guns. I'm enjoying making videos. I'm back doing this Ask Snes series, which is fantastic. I'm really glad that you guys are interested in doing this and asking me loads of great questions. I've got ideas for videos I want to do. I feel motivated, and I really want to get out there and make the effort to do these videos. I want to get involved in other people's channels if anybody wants me to. I was recently on Open Every Box's channel on the Amico All Access podcast, which was a fantastic experience. It was really great meeting those guys. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot more motivated, and I think in the future of the channel really is more content, more regular content, hopefully. No, I'm going to say yes, more regular content. Maybe not every week, but it will be more regular. and it's really just about me making the videos that I feel comfortable making, because I have no financial gain out of this channel. It is purely a hobbyist channel for a bit of fun. Jesus, that was a long answer. Next question from Alex. Amico aside, funny guy, because Alex is not a fan. Can you envisage a time when your games room consists of 90s stuff only, or is that just too primitive for you in reality? Yes, I can, and no, it isn't. Would you miss modern gaming, or do you think you'd actually be quite content with the old school stuff? I wouldn't give up modern gaming completely. So to me, I mean, at the moment, I have modern gaming in the living room with the PS4. I don't have the PS3 set up or anything else at the moment, and I've got the retro here with the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and the PS1. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that separation. But yeah, I'd never give up modern gaming. I couldn't do that. I would like the retro part to just be on. It'd be really cool if I could just have a SNES, a PlayStation. I'll be happy just with those two. I mean, the Xbox is too good to give up. That's the only problem. There's too many great games on it, so that probably will never go away. But yeah, it would be cool if I could do it. Also, yeah, I think that's about it, isn't it? I'm just having a brain freeze then, anyway. But yeah, I mean, basically, it's definitely not primitive at all. I mean, as you know, we both love the 16-bit era. It's the best era. So yeah, if I could do it, I would have 90s only. The PlayStation SNES on the CRT. That'd be the end of it, and anything like HD and everything would go on the modern TV. Right, we have a question from Mr. Keith Hewitt. Hello, Keith. And he asks, did you miss making Ask Snes videos? Yes and no. I didn't in a way, because I lost my motivation a little bit for doing YouTube, and I felt like last time the videos were sort of losing their way. They weren't really going in the right direction. But recently I was watching John Flickster, who does film channel basically. He does Blu-ray pickups. He goes around Walmart and whatnot, and John Flickster's just an awesome guy. He's also got his main channel is called the Flick Pick, but he's also got his own separate channel called the John Flickster channel. And he does a weekly Q&A. And I was watching that the other day, and I just thought, you know what, I actually miss doing this, which is why I put out the question on Twitter and YouTube and just asked, is anybody interested at all in watching these Ask Snes videos anymore? And luckily, some guys did come back and say, yeah, actually, we missed those videos, Pete, so it'd be nice to see them. So thank you for that. You gave me the motivation to try again. The original Button Basher. What are your thoughts on big UK YouTubers, e-beggars, or delivering a service worth paying for? Should they do paid for reviews or mobile games, etc.? I'm talking Larry, Top Hat, Slopes, Kim Justice, and Jebs. Well, to be fair, mate, I don't watch those channels, so I can't really comment on anything they've done. I don't like the word e-begging. I really hate that personally, because I think at the end of the day, YouTube, like everything in our society, is capitalist, and you have a choice. You can make money out of it, or you don't make money out of it. And I don't criticise anyone who pays money towards a YouTube channel. It's your money, do what you want with it. I don't understand it personally. I've never given money to a YouTuber because I don't really understand the point of Patreon and being a YouTube member, and I really don't understand Super Chat at all. I think that's the most bizarre thing ever, and I don't understand buying merchandise. But I don't criticise anyone that does that, because if you want to get that involved with a YouTuber, that's awesome, man. If it makes you happy, that's great. It's your money, do what you want with it. You know, to me, it's like Patreon. I never understand the argument against Patreon. If you're subscribed to someone, they've got a Patreon account, the people who are patrons will get extra. If you're not a patron, you just watch what they put on YouTube and it's still free. So until the day comes where they start charging you to watch the YouTube footage, then you can just unsubscribe and find someone better to watch, or someone else to watch. It just makes no sense to me. So I really don't like the e-beggar thing. To me, I don't understand why people get like that about it. Because to me, it doesn't make the content I watch plenty of people who've got Patreon accounts. Makes sod all difference to my viewing experience. I just watch what they put on YouTube. So next part of the question as well is, you yourself have a long time loyal following, and I would bet that some may well back you via Patreon. Have you ever been tempted? No. As I say, this is not a cash channel. To me, this channel is just me just talking shit and having a bit of fun. I'm not in this for money whatsoever. I'm not in it to make a career, and that's not some grand stance or anything, or taking the moral high ground, because I ain't like that. I just don't really see the point. For me, I'll be totally honest, the reason I don't do it is because I feel that if I was to ask you guys for money, as soon as I do that, some people are going to feel like they've got ownership over the channel and over me and what content I should be putting out. And two, I just don't feel comfortable asking for money. It's as simple as that. I don't personally like the idea of doing that. The other way of making money is through paid promotions. Now, I've had over the years, many companies have contacted me to do promotions, and I always delete the emails. I am not getting involved in that because, again, it feels like they've got ownership over my content. If I do a paid promotion for someone, I feel, I might not be this way, I might be completely wrong, but it always feels to me like you're going to be in their pocket in a way, because they're not going to, you're always fighting to keep that promotion, to keep the money coming in. So if I'm promoting, I don't know, can of Pepsi, and I say something bad about Pepsi, they're going to pull the promotion. So you're always going to have to be careful about the words you use and what you say, and I'm not doing that. I've no interest. Plus, I'll be quite honest, it annoys the shit out of me when I watch videos, and people spend the first 2 minutes of a video promoting some bullshit product that I don't care about, and it really annoys me. I always skip forward and just ignore that rubbish. So yeah, I mean, the only other way you can make money, as I say, is like Super Chat, which makes no bloody sense, and AdSense, which I think is the fairest way. Unfortunately, unless you've got hundreds of thousands or millions of subscribers, forget AdSense, because you ain't making shit off AdSense. It pays pennies. It is the best way, because that way you guys who watch are not involved financially whatsoever. So you have no feel of ownership over me. I don't feel like I'm taking advantage of you, and I'm just getting money from the big corporation Google. But you know, I have had ads on my videos in the past, and I'll be quite honest with you, I made a couple of £100 and that was it over a couple of years. You have to hit £60 first of all, is the limit. That's when you get paid, and it would normally take me about a year to get that. You know, I make sod all. So I got rid of the ads personally, because as a viewer of YouTube as well, I hate ads on videos, and YouTube are getting worse for it, because I assume they're pushing YouTube premium and they want us to pay £12 a month, which I'm not going to do. But yeah, and quite frankly, oh God, this is turned to a rant. People who turn on adverts in their videos should be ashamed of themselves, because I hate that so much. And I'm talking as a viewer, not as a content creator or YouTuber. Just as a viewer, I hate that so much. It's the most frustrating thing when you're watching someone's video and not even a minute into the video, it goes into a bloody advert. And if you're lucky, you can skip it. But nowadays, YouTube are putting double ads on. So you have 2 ads before the video starts, and you'll go into another double ad while you're watching the video. Then you'll watch the video for another minute or two. Then you get another ad. And then you can have like 2, 3, 4, 5 ads in a video, and then you get to the end of the video and it's like, come on, this is ridiculous. So yeah, I really hate that. You can turn that off as a YouTuber, I know, because I've got my own account, obviously. So you don't have to have ads in your videos. I think if you've got Patreon and you're making money from merchandise, and you've got, I don't know, paid promotions and everything, why you got adverts in your videos? Turn them on at the front, fair enough, no one cares if it's at the front or the end of the video, but don't have them on in the video, it's just ridiculous. Jesus Christ, right, okay. Okay, the next section is about me personally. So there aren't going to be many of these because I don't do personal questions, but there are a couple I thought that are actually quite good this week. So the first question is from Sniper, who asks, I think you may have touched on this before, but do you or your family follow football at all? I'm a Birmingham City fan, and I remember you saying you're from Birmingham. Yes, I am from Birmingham. No, I don't follow football whatsoever, mate. I've never had an interest. I watch the World Cup. I might watch the Euro. I just don't. My dad's not into football, so I've never really brought up with it. So, you know, it's a good thing because it saved me a lot of money. Because Christ's sake, man, you know, season tickets and shirts and all that. No thanks. I've got enough problems with retro gaming and vinyl and films and, you know, yeah. And also he asked, do you have any tattoos? No, I don't, mate. And if not, would you have any? No, I wouldn't. When I was a kid, I was into piercing. That was my thing in my 20s. It's not so much a kid. In my 20s, I got really heavily into piercing, and that was my thing. Never really got tattoos. I could never, because to me, tattoos are so permanent. It has to be something that really means something to me, something that looks really cool, but also has a personal meaning. I don't want just some random fashion tattoo because it always ages badly. So yeah, I've never been a fan of it. Plus also, I think I never tend to like things that everyone likes, and everybody has tattoos now. So I like the fact that I don't have any. LFC Gamer and Vlogs asks, any favourite childhood, I can't say that, any favourite childhood holidays or vacations from my American friends? No, the only time I can think I've gone on holiday really, and we did go on holiday a couple of times. The main one was when we went to Wales. I don't remember how old I was or when it happened, but I just remember that because it was the holiday where I remember playing a lot of Final Fight Pit Fighter and Operation Wolf, and it was the time when I beat Pit Fighter with my cousin. We were playing that for quite a while, and we had a crowd of kids around us, and I remember just clocking that game and being well chuffed. I mean, it's not that hard to beat now, but as a kid it seemed quite difficult. Yeah, that's probably one of the best holidays we had. But yeah, I don't remember. I think that was also the holiday, if I remember correctly, when me and my cousin were in the back of the car with my mum and dad, and we had CMVG, and it was an Ultraman issue, and in the middle it had a centre spread of Street Fighter 2 coming to the Super Nintendo, which blew my mind when I saw that. So that's probably why it sticks in my mind as well. James West asks, do you have any other hobbies than collecting films, music, or retro gaming? Not really. I used to cycle quite a lot. I don't do that anymore. I need to get back on that. And I used to read a lot as well. I was really into reading books. I don't know why that died off. I just sort of stopped at one point. So that's something I'd really like to get back into, because I love reading books. I read a lot of non-fiction, so I read like autobiographies, political books, books about World War II, Vietnam, that sort of thing. Exciting stuff, I know. I've read like several books from like the perspective of soldiers and TV journalists, news journalists that were in Afghanistan and Iraq after 9/11. I read books on Blackwater. A really good book I read was Barack Obama's Dreams of My Father. Not political at all, just about his life. Fantastic book, that was really interesting. And a really good one was No Angel. I can't remember the name of the author, but it's about an ex-DEA agent who went undercover with the Hells Angels. Fantastic book, really interesting. So yeah, those are the two hobbies I'd like to get back into. But at the moment, my main current hobbies, as you say, are video games, vinyl records, and Blu-rays. Also, James asks, what are your life plans for the future? What a question, mate. Bloody hell. Honestly, I've got no idea right now. I know what I'd like to be doing, but I don't, I can't see it happening. I'm trying to be more positive thinking lately and trying to focus on what I want. But yeah, realistically, if I could just, be financially comfortable, eventually find a wife, or even a girlfriend, just a girlfriend, no matter a wife, just someone to spend my life with and just enjoy every day with, just share that experience. That'd be about it, and have a nice circle of friends. That's all I need, really. You don't need too much in life, really, do you, to be happy? Work for in television. Work for in television entertainment, even if it's just like a really basic admin job, just doing something. That'd be amazing. But yeah, that's never going to happen. Next question from Big King Bacon. If gaming never existed, how different would your life be? That's a fascinating question, mate, and that applies to all of us, I think. Who knows? I mean, I could have gone to university, probably not. I could have got an amazing education. I could have travelled the world. I probably would have travelled, actually, to be quite honest. If I never spent all this money on gaming, I would have probably gone and travelled more. But then again, that comes down to having people around you who want to travel with you. Because I know I've seen people on YouTube who solo travel. No way would I do that. That takes some serious balls to do that. I would love after watching some of the channels I watch, I'd love to go around. Another reason for trying to start dating again and building a relationship would be just so I got someone to go travelling with. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. You can't tell, can you? We all make decisions in life. We all do, and it's just a hobby that we do from when we're a kid. So you're not really making a fork in the road decision at that point. So who knows what life could have been? But I don't try to dwell on what could have been. I just accept what I have and just try and move forward and make things better. Colin Lynch asks, some time ago I watched a video of yours where you had decided to give up video game collecting. You talked in depth about a negative impact collecting has had on your life, financial difficulties, depression, etc. I'm just wondering what you did to overcome this, as I see that you're now back collecting again. If it's too personal of a question, please feel free to discard. No problem at all, thank you, Colin. Yeah, I mean, I quit collecting first time in 2016, where I just hit a brick wall and I was going through a lot of stuff and I just had enough and I just couldn't hack it anymore. And it was doing my head in because I was making a lot of bad decisions. And so the mistake I made there was I sold everything and I kept my Sony CRT, my Trinitron. Not that one, a 4.3 27-inch beautiful TV. Yeah, and I kept it and I shouldn't have. I should have got rid of it at the time because it would have probably kept me out of the hobby. And then in 2017 I moved house and everything had settled down and I felt a lot more comfortable and I felt like I want to get back into retro. And of course, what happened, I made the same mistake that I always make. I bought a SNES, I should have just left it there, but then I bought a Mega Drive, a NES, an N64, and it just spiraled out of control again. And one day I just went, you know what, I've had enough of this shit. And I just sold it all, and I sold the TV, and I regret selling the TV. That was a massive mistake. I've got that one now, so not so bad. But yeah, the way I got out of it, I don't know if there was a specific moment, but I just took time to think about what I was doing and the reasons why I was doing it. What was the purpose of it? because in a way it became a bit of a crutch for real life and to not deal with real life. So that was one of the reasons I was doing it. I identified the mistakes I had made, like buying multiple systems, constantly buying games, constantly trying to be a collector when I couldn't financially be a collector. It was a ridiculous thing to do, but it was that collector mindset was still there and I couldn't stop myself constantly buying. And now at this point, I'm not actually a collector. I know I buy games, but I don't feel like a collector anymore. I don't feel that obligation to constantly search eBay, to constantly be buying games, which I've done for years. In the last year or so, about the last year, really it's gotten to a point now where I just buy a game to play, and then when I want something new, I'll buy it again. And I've become a gamer like I used to be when I was growing up and going through the different generations. And I don't feel an obligation to get really hardcore collector again, which is brilliant. I mean, it's such a relief. I feel so much more relaxed about the whole situation now. And it also helps me with YouTube because it means I can push myself to make different content and not just be doing pickup videos all the time. I love making a pickup video. I love watching them. I know you guys do. But I don't feel like I need to just constantly be buying stuff to fulfill my own personal need for collecting and also to make YouTube content. So I hope that answers your question. Right, we've got a couple of political questions. So most of you will turn off now, but there you go. So Nat Kennedy Breeze, and I'm going to do my best to answer these, Nat, but I don't really know a lot, so I'll do what I can. I believe that automation and things like self-scanning, if they continue the way they are, will inevitably lead to a basic universal income being essential, which basically means that the government will pay you a set amount, say £1,000, to every single person in the land every month, and then you have that as a basic income, and then if you want to move on from there and get a job and advance yourself, you can do, but everyone is on the same level, and it annihilates the benefit system and all the shame and everything that people put on that, and it makes life a lot easier for people. Do you agree, or do you think that there are alternatives like assigning a work robot to each human being? Well, I get rid of all the robots, get rid of all the scanning machines, because I hate all that for a start. It really does monotony when I go into like a supermarket and I see everybody using self-scan, and I'm like, do you not understand this is putting people out of work? People are losing their jobs because of this. You know, the checkouts themselves are getting less and less because people are using all this self-scan stuff. And I don't blame people, you know, I mean, people just don't see it, they just go with the flow. It's like, this is the new thing we do now, so I'll just do that. You know, I'll tap my card, I'll tap my phone. It's just quick and easy. There's no interaction. I don't get it. I mean, I always use a checkout. One, because you get a conversation for a start. You get an interaction with a human being. And two, I just totally object to this automation of everything. I think it's ridiculous. The more we automate, the less jobs there's going to be. And there's going to be a lot more unemployed people. And then you will have to have a universal basic income. I don't know what alternatives there are really, other than the universal basic income, to resolve that situation. I mean, they go, oh yeah, but people just reskill, and it's not that easy to just reskill, and especially like if you're in your 40s like me, or your 50s or your 60s, and you suddenly find that you've been doing a part-time job at Tesco for the last 30 years, you're now in your 50s, and you get booted out because they want to put a self-scan in. How are you going to get a job then? If all the other supermarkets are doing the same thing and not employing people, you've got to reskill and you've got to try and learn a new trade. I mean, come on, it's damn near impossible. It's not impossible, you can do it, but it's incredibly difficult to claw your way back and to not only get the education, but to get a job. For someone who's going to take on someone in their 50s who's only worked in retail or supermarkets, and they've got, I don't know, they've got to reskill for the IT sector because maybe that's the future. It's ridiculous. You know, you're going to have like 100 candidates who are IT proficient, and then you get someone comes in who's done no IT work in their life and they've just done a course. They're going to take the people who are IT proficient. I don't know, I just don't, the future doesn't look good, does it really, with all this automation? I don't like it at all. Should for-profit prison systems be against international law? I think the profit motive leads to making more money, to making more and more stupid things illegal and human rights violations. I know nothing about the prison system, so this is really difficult for me to answer. I mean, initially I'd think profit from a prison seems bad. Corporations should not be involved in the prison system because it can lead to corruption. And I think at the end of the day, the prison system should be run by the government and tax paid and funded. It makes no sense at all to have a corporation involved and to run the risk of it being corrupt and, you know, incentives being there for the police to arrest people for minor offences and putting them in prison just to stack the numbers up and make the profits go. If that ever happens, I don't know, maybe it's happening now, I don't know, I don't pay attention to all this stuff anymore. That's a terrible way to go. I hope we don't do that. Did you know that a study showed that housing all the homeless people in the USA is more cost effective than keeping them homeless? I didn't, but it sounds pretty good. I know I've seen programs before in America where they've set up certain areas, they've been able to build these affordable, I hate affordable homes, there's no such thing, but you know what I mean, these cheaper homes that they've put together to give the homeless a house to start them off, because without a house you can't get benefits, you can't get a job, you can't do anything. So I think personally that's a brilliant idea, and I'm a massive advocate for doing something about the homeless and helping them, because not enough is done. I'm not going to say nothing, but it's just a problem that seems unsolvable, and so governments of the world just sort of like sweep it under the rug the best they can. And I feel that more needs to be done to help people, because nobody should be living on the streets. I don't care who they are. Nobody should be out there struggling every day and every night to try and survive. It's just totally wrong, especially in a Western society like we've got and the Americans have got. It's absolutely abysmal to me. I really do hate that so much. So if there is, you know, like everything with our societies, but most people tend to just go, well, it's the way it is. No one wants to try an alternative because, oh, that can't work. Well, we don't know until we try it, see if it works. If it doesn't work, then fair enough, try something else. You know, don't just give up and say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Murray, Mr. Murray Lane, Muzz247 365 asks, is there anything you've missed during all of this COVID bollocks? The cinema, mate. Probably like you as well. That's the one thing I've missed the most. I love going to cinema, and I really do miss going out and watching films. I cannot wait to get back. The cinema where I live is open right now, and it's a small cinema, an independent cinema. So it is possible to go there because they have got really good social distancing rules in place. But I'm still not comfortable. I still don't trust people enough to go to cinema. Tenet's out next week. I'm not that asked about seeing Tenet, to be quite honest with you. I can wait for that. I'll watch it on Blu-ray or streaming. And they've been showing a lot of really old films and old classics. Like they had Back to the Future on, which I'd love to have seen, because I only saw 2 and 3 at the cinema when I was young. So it'd be cool to see the first one. Oh, and they had Jurassic Park on, that would have been cool. I've seen that at the cinema when it came out, but it'd be cool to see it again. But yeah, I'm in no rush. I'll wait till it's safe. LFC Gamer and Vlogs asks, how do you think Boris Johnson is dealing with the COVID-19 situation in comparison to how Nicola Sturgeon handled it? I don't watch the news, so I don't know everything. I only hear little bits, and I maybe see occasionally on Twitter on the news feed. Nicola Sturgeon seems to be doing a good job. Boris Johnson's doing the best job he can. To be quite honest, mate, I don't think, no matter who's in charge, even if Keir Starmer was in charge, he wouldn't be doing as good a job, or a better job, should I say, because it's an unprecedented event and they're just doing the best they can. They're winging it as they go. I do think that some of the decisions in terms of the messaging has been absolutely terrible. Like when they had the whole thing about if you come back from a foreign holiday, you're going to be quarantined for 2 weeks, but we're not going to put it in place. I think it was like 2 weeks after they put that in place or something ridiculous. It's like, just maybe it's because there's a process that needs to go through, but it just seemed a little ridiculous to me. Just get it sorted. You know, I don't understand that at all. The whole mask situation, there was no masks for months, and now it's like, oh, if you go into a shop you've got to wear a mask. Well, it's too late. You should have done that from day one. A mask should be worn as soon as you go out the house. Everyone in public should wear masks. I know they don't stop you catching the disease, but as far as I understand, they do stop you from infecting other people. So someone keeps driving their van back and forth. And so to me, it's quite logical that if everyone wears masks in public, then it will reduce the rate of infection. I mean, that just seems quite logical to me. Them shields are going to do nothing for you, by the way, people that wear them. If you wear a mask under them, fine, but don't just wear a shield, because it's bloody pointless because the virus will just go underneath it. Yeah, I just feel like some of the messaging has been a bit haphazard and a bit British in that way, a bit half-assed, like, you can do this, but you can't do that. Maybe you can do that. And it's like, just set a solid line. People need to be just told what to do. It's as simple as that, I think. Just say, look, this is the situation. You're wearing masks from now on, or you can't go out, or if you do go out, you've got to stay 2 meters apart, and you can't gather in big events. If you gather in big events, we'll shut it all down. But of course, Theresa May's ruined the police force, so they're a bit knackered there, aren't they? So there you go. But yeah, I don't know. As I don't watch the news anymore. I avoid all of it because I just don't give a shit anymore. The news is rubbish. It's not worth watching. It's a waste of time. Right, okay, and the last question is from Keith Hewitt, who asks, what is your opinion on the resolution of the COVID situation? Well, it hasn't resolved, mate. It's still ongoing. The disease is still there. There is no cure. There is no treatment. Despite what the government might make people think that we're safer now that they've eased the lockdown, we're not safer. It's just as dangerous as it was beforehand. Nothing has changed. The virus is still there. Until they find a treatment, because they'll never find a cure, because they don't find cures, they only find treatments, because there's no money to be made in cures, obviously. Yeah, until that happens, you've just got to just do the best, and really self-preservation is the most important thing. Take care of yourself. Wear a mask if it makes you feel comfortable and safe. Keep your distance from people. All the obvious things, just a bit of common sense. I'd just ignore the government and just make your own decisions and take care of your own self and your family. And you know, that's all we can do really as citizens. God, that was heavy. Well, there you go. So thank you very much, guys. Really appreciate all of the questions. It's been a fantastic episode. Dread to think how long this one's gonna be. Hope you've enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below. Let me know your thoughts as per usual. And of course, if you do have any more questions for me, please leave them in the comments and I'll ask them in the next step. I'll answer them in the next. I'll answer them in the next. Oh Christ! Leave your questions down below and I'll answer. I can't get my words out. Leave your questions down below and I'll answer them in the next episode of Ask Snes. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.